You know, people that have been talking about doing shit for longer than Wheels to Walking has existed. Like,
yeah,
they've been with their mouth blabbering, and it's like, yo. Like, some are obviously, like, worse than others, and we're not calling anybody out specifically, but it's like, just be quiet and do it. Because by talking about it, you're asking for permission. You're asking for permission by your family, by your friends. You're asking permission to do the thing you want to do. So stop asking permission and just do it. No one remembers when you start.
And trying to get people to think you're doing something when you're really not.
True.
And it's like, it's like that Lil Wayne lyric is like, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah, man, but it's like no one remembers when you started. Like, I promise you, like, they just notice that you're there. No one ever notices that you start. No one ever notices that you suck in the beginning. Like, I would even argue that right now, in this moment, Andrew and I are still starting. We still suck because in, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, when we are the thing, like, we'll look back at this and have a blast laughing because it's like, oh man, we just weren't there yet. Like, it's always about like progress, not perfection. It's always about improving your craft every single day. But again, I want to encourage you guys because you are away from your friends. You are away from your family. No one has anything to say. No one even has to know you're doing it. Just keep it to yourself, but do something. Like, make big moves and like don't seek approval. Don't don't call someone and be like, hey, what do you think about this idea? That's asking for permission. Don't talk to your parents about like, hey, I've been thinking about doing this new thing, and then pitch them the idea. That is asking permission. Do not ask permission. Like, just decide to do it. Decide to get on a piece of paper and write a blog. Decide to record yourself and upload it to video. Decide to record a voice and add it to a podcast. Decide to draw something on paper or read a book or craft or build or repair or fix. Like, you can choose your passion. You can choose to become creative, like Andrew was saying. Like, you just have to commit to it and you have to become passionate about it. Like, I always get so frustrated when people are like, oh man, I wish I found my passion. And it's like, you just got to create your passion. You got to make it your passion. Like,
I would say that's the hardest part, is finding what you're good at first. And the reason why it's such a good time to start now is because you have so much time to just try shit.
Exactly.
Facts, 100% facts. It's a situation where like you can literally try something every 3 days and fail at it, and no one would even know. They would literally have no idea. No one. And
also,
know.
3 days is not even long enough to know if you are good or not.
I would argue it's like
100.
100. Once you've done 100 of something, then you can reassess. Like, you can once you've done 100. 10,000 hours. Once you've made 100 uploads, 100 podcasts, 100 paintings, 100 writings, whatever, then you'll know. But I think you can still choose what you want to be passionate about.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I wanted to get involved in anything I wanted, as long as like money and time permitted, I literally could do whatever I wanted. And I think you guys can too, given your physical limitations, given your financial limitations. But if your limitations are in your mind, which most people's are, then you can choose to do that anyway.
Yeah, and I think finding your passion is really hard, but I think one of the best ways to do that is looking at like what you consume. Like, for example, go on your YouTube history.
What do you like?
Yeah, open up your YouTube, homepage and see what pops up. That's the type of stuff that you're watching. That's the type of stuff that you're into. I would say I watch a lot of, car videos. I realize I'm super into cars. Maybe that's my passion. I don't know. Maybe that's something that I just like to enjoy as a fun thing, or maybe I could make it into a career. I don't know. I could have just as easily gone into like cars photography or car videography or something, but like I didn't do that. But that's something that I'm super interested in. Or, maybe you're just super interested in, freaking, I don't even know. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that you could be into, but I would say that's like the biggest thing is what you look at that other people don't even know that you look at. Like, I also watch tons of tech videos. Even before I did video stuff, I'd watch videos about cameras and, technology and stuff like that. And I realized like, oh, I actually was setting myself up for this type of thing, and I didn't even really realize it,
Yeah, I'm still not a big fan of the idea of find your passion, because I think if you keep looking, you're never gonna find it. I believe way stronger in the idea of create. your passion. And like,
Yeah.
we're lucky enough that what we're passionate about can make us money. Like we've made it make us money. We've turned into that. And you know, but
I think with the internet, you can make money on anything.
But you don't have to do that. You don't have to do it. You can make it a hobby, a vocation. You can make it a side hustle. You can make it a full thing. You can just make it nothing, something that brings you joy. Like we literally have the two most powerful things in the world at our fingertips now. We've got our phones and our computers, and that just means that we've got access to every human brain that ever existed, ever, basically. And like you've got like it's insane to think about like all this information we have. And if you don't know where to start, you can jump on a masterclass, or you can jump on a Skillshare, or you can find your favorite content creator and see if they offer programs, because a lot of your favorite content creators they teach you how to do what they do. I mean, that's even how I learned how to do YouTube really well. Like I learned from a guy who taught me how to do YouTube really well.
Yeah. By the way, can we all fucking stop saying the word masterclass so many damn times? Dude, I can't tell you how many times over this like quarantine break I've heard people go on Instagram Live and go on stories being like, I'm teaching a masterclass on IG Live tomorrow. It's like, you're not a master. That's not a masterclass. A masterclass is hours and hours and hours. You're going on live and showing us how to make fucking Photoshop templates or something. That's not a master class. You're also not a master. Stop it. Also, can we stop saying the word hacks? Oh, I'm going to teach you this quick little hack. I'm going to teach you this hack on how to make the perfect banana bread. Bitch, that's not a hack. That's a recipe. Hacks are not things. Shut up with the fucking hacks. Dude, oh my God. Okay, but I meant
masterclass in
in a real masterclass. I know.
Like
I just on a side note, there are masterclasses. But fucking stop saying you're teaching a masterclass when you fucking just started your business last year, Brenda.
You know what I hate is when people make like a group chat and then call it a mastermind. They're like, yo, welcome to my mastermind. This is a group of all people's minds put together. It's like, yo, I also read Napoleon Hill's book. Like, I also read that book. Like, I know what that book is.
I know what Think and Grow Rich is.
Think and Grow Rich. I've never heard of that one before. Like,
yeah, dude. Reads Think and Grow Rich once, puts entrepreneur in their bio.
Which, by the way, if you guys have never read that book, read it. Also, now's the perfect time to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad is Rich Dad Poor Dad right now. I'm telling you, if you want to change everything you ever thought about money, I'm not even lying. Read or get the Audible of Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Get the Audible. It's read by Robert Kiyosaki. It's really good.
Yeah, he's got some new books out there which really focus on.
But read Rich Dad Poor Dad
on multi-level marketing, but. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Oh, did I say that? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, that book changed my life. I've probably listened to it like 5 times. I wanted to show my screen for a second because there's a book. I had this guy on my podcast, actually. This guy named Alan Gannett. He wrote this book called The Creative Curve. And this book is awesome. I actually didn't even read the full book, to be completely honest. But I interviewed him and I went to his book release and we talked about it. And he basically did interviews with a bunch of people that are like creatives. He even had Casey Neistat in the book, which is really cool. But the idea behind the book is that there is actually a science to creativity, like what we were just talking about a second ago. Mm-hmm. And it is a muscle. It is something that you can get better at. It's not just something that you're like born with. And it's basically... he breaks down what creativity actually is. And it's like the combination of something that's actually new and different, but also you have to combine that with something that is also already very familiar. So it's the combination of the novel and the familiar, and that's what creativity is. Because if you create something that's so different that it's not even identifiable with anything that anyone can relate to,
so obscure.
You're just making up nonsense. Like if it's just so out there, it's not viewed as being creative. You're just like making up nothing. And I think some people view certain artists like that, like very
they're making art
abstract.
for themselves. They're making it for themselves.
Or they're like, dude, I'm so different. And it's like, you're not different. You're just a weirdo. Like, especially with certain fashion choices and things like that, you have to combine the novel with the familiar. If I always think about this example, if I the Pilgrim showed up on frickin' Plymouth Rock and I played them a dubstep song, they wouldn't even see it as like music. You know what I mean? Because it's so far removed from what they would view as music that they couldn't even appreciate it. But because we went from classical music to, the evolution, then we had like Elvis, then we had the Beatles, then we had, metal, then we had, there's so many evolutions and things that are growing on that initial concept that then you can, because you appreciate metal, you can appreciate dubstep. Because you appreciate certain other things, you can appreciate these new things. I think Virgil Abloh is like a genius at that. Like, he's created this whole brand of Off-White, and it's kind of based on like concepts. But the only reason why they're cool is because they're like half-made drafts of things that are already existing. Like, Off-White Nike shoes, they're almost like deconstructed. They almost look like prototypes. And the reason why they're cool is because it looks like almost a half-made version of something that you're already familiar with, So it's just like, I love that concept. You have to combine the novel with the familiar. And that's what real creative people, quote unquote, they do so well. And that's why people view them as that. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I think there's definitely a lot of artists that are good, that are way too humble about what they do.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
I think that there's a lot of artists out there that consider themselves visionaries when they're just making art for themselves.
Oh, totally.
There's and anything in between. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I have much to harp on this subject anymore, except for just simply like the creativity is whatever you make it. And I know for me, one of the things that I've had to surrender to is like with quarantine, I've got a really bad sleep schedule. My sleep schedule is very difficult right now. I am staying up stupid late for no reason, and I'm sleeping in late, and my mornings are really hard to get started. And I normally, I usually get to work at like 10 or 11, and now I'm getting to work at like, I don't know, 2, 3. But I'm working way later too. It's like, get what you can when you can. Like I said, like there's no rules anymore, it seems. Like, we are currently living in a time where, at least so I'm on the phone like with everyone all the time, and I found some interesting like parallels and consistencies. It's like, if you live alone, dealing with yourself is very difficult and it's very lonely. But if you live with a group of people, it is very difficult to live with them because you're all in this like space together. So there's a lot of like bickering and quarreling. And then there's the people that have their jobs, and then there's the people that don't have their jobs. And it's like the people that are still working are the only ones that have some type of semblance of like, pre what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be completely fair to us, it's not like you were really doing so much out of the house besides going to the gym and hanging out with Jalila.
I mean, much more than that, but also not
on the
at the
weekends.
same time.
On the weekends, you'd hang out.
It's mainly, the biggest restriction is access to you and AJ, honestly. That's like that's access to my girlfriend, access also to like the outside and the gym. And
I'm not belittling it. I'm just saying it is interesting how like much has changed, but also how little has changed. I work from home. I the only places I ever drive to are your house, the grocery store, and the gym. And the only things that have changed, I'm still able to go to the grocery store if I need to. I've been trying to stock up more and go less, obviously. But it is weird how, like, I still am working from home, luckily. But it does feel very different because I'm having to do certain things at home that I wouldn't want to do at home.
Yeah, it's weird. I would say you're right. Like, for the most part, my life hasn't changed much, but also the 24 hours that exist in a day are extremely different.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like you lived by yourself for years now, but now that you can only, you are forced to be by yourself only. You can't have people over,
Y'all want to hear my perspective on this? This is dope as shit. So in my lifetime, this is not a confession because if you know me, you know this. I've spent time in jail, I've spent time in a psych ward, and I've spent time in a rehab before. And this currently feels a lot like that. Like really structured, like super regimented, like you only get to have what you have and nothing more and nothing less, and it's very squeezed in. But I tell you what, I'd rather take my dope-ass apartment than a rehab room, than a psych ward, than a jail any day. Like, if this is a cell, I've got the dopest cell ever. You mean I got a kitchen? You mean I got a nice bed? You mean I got my own bathroom? You mean I got the internet and a computer and my phone? Get the out of here. Come on, man. Like, I can talk to people. Like, I can, listen, like, this is
nothing.
This is not shit. Like, not shit. But it's just still challenging. It's just different. Like, things are acting weird and misbehaving, and I'm just trying to, like, roll with the punches as best I can. And it's like, what I've been doing for me and my discipline and me and my creativity, instead of being so damn rigid with it, I'm just getting it when I can. Like, anytime.
Yeah, dude.
Like, because I'm not feeling bad about playing on Instagram. I'm not feeling bad about watching YouTube or Netflix. I'm not bad about FaceTiming people all day. I'm not feeling bad about laying on the ground and stretching, and I'm not feeling bad about eating not as good foods or not working out as much or whatever. But it's like, whenever I get that little, like, boop, I'm just fucking in it, And then
Totally.
I blaze until I burn out, and then I'm like, okay, done. And I think it's, get what you can when you can. Don't beat yourself up too much. A lot of self-love and a lot of self-forgiveness has to happen right here because, listen, we're social creatures. We're not meant to live in isolation like this. Like, we're definitely, like, it's crazy. Like, I sat in front of my window and, like, suntanned yesterday. But it brought me joy. It made me happy.
That Instagram story felt like you someone was like holding the camera with a gun behind your head, gun to your head. Like,
oh, did it?
Like, okay, Richard, you're gonna tell him to sit by the window now. No, I'm just
no.
kidding.
I literally
but it
like
did
sat
kind of
by
feel
the
like
window.
that. Because you're right. You're like this is weird. I don't know why I'm making this, but this is making me feel good right now. So I'm gonna tell you to do it because it's making me feel good.
And it felt fucking great. I like sat and
no
like,
wonder
FaceTime
Akbar
people.
sits in the sun on the bed all day because he literally sits in your apartment all day.
Dude, I understand cats and dogs so much better now. Like, dogs, no wonder they're stoked to go do walkies because they can go outside once a day for like 30 minutes, and I get to go outside for once a day, maybe, for 30 minutes or an hour. All right, sign me up, motherfucker. Like with a cat, he's like laying in the sun or like, napping or relaxing or running around at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's very weird for me. But, I've even found that, like, the other day I was watching like some Conor McGregor like UFC knockout videos, and for a total 8 minutes, I forgot that we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I was like, going like, oh shit, put him to sleep, knocked him the fuck out. Oh, like I'm talking to myself, like laughing, having a good time, and then I realized like, oh shit. And then I just like jumped back in and watched more videos, and it felt better. I'm like, damn, maybe I need to get into boxing. And even, dude, I've been even thinking about, like, again, this is power of the internet shit, like video games. Like, maybe I buy a video game system now and play, on
Dude,
my.
that's why I want to get an Oculus, because it literally is a different world. Like, you're not just like playing a game, you're in the other place. Like, that'll make you forget your situation real quick.
Yeah, it's funny how the World Health Organization declared video game addiction a mental illness, and now they're declaring video games to be a healthy coping mechanism for the pandemic because you can communicate with friends while playing games at the same time. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you'd like to see the full episode, click right here. If you'd like to subscribe, click here. If you'd like more clips, we got 2 more right over here.